We've talked a lot about global security today, and ironically, I want to ask you a question about personal security today. We all saw the Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, your cabinet colleague, accosted by a pretty hostile protester in Alberta last month. And I think that caused a lot of people to take note. I've been watching politicians and security for years. It was a pretty jarring event. What went through your mind, and what was the discussion among other colleagues? And we can see security here today for you. No one likes to talk about personal security, but it's kind of out there now. So what went through your mind at the time?
Well, upon seeing the video, immediately got in touch with her to tell her that I am here for any support if she needed. And I, of course, was very concerned for her safety. She's a dear colleague, and I respect her immensely. On the broader question of the security of politicians, I think it is definitely a conversation that we need to have, but it's important to recognize that we do live in the democracy where free speech is a hallmark of our democracy and should be respected. But there is also a boundary between free speech and security and safety of individuals who are elected to public office and are fulfilling their jobs as elected representatives. And I feel strongly that we need to have that conversation and hopefully come to a result and a place where we feel that we're able to serve in a safe and secure environment.
When you're in public life, when someone invades your space, do you think the public gets that, understands the difference between personal space and space to have a debate?
I'm not sure. I only came into public life 3 years ago. I was a professor for 25 years, and I never had an incident like Minister Freeland experienced, and I have had some of those experiences myself. I'll just say that I value so much the democracy that we live in and the principles on which democracy are based, including free speech and freedom of the press, that we do need to strive to protect those, as well as the legal boundaries that have been set by the Parliament of Canada and provincial legislatures.
There is a line. I always save the best question for last with you and other guests, and that is, tell us about any advice that you would have for students or professors who need to get or want to get engaged in democracy and perhaps join in the democratic process, climbing the greasy flagpole, as Disraeli once said centuries ago, because it's hard, it's messy, it's a blood sport at times, and we were talking about that in the green room beforehand. So what advice do you have, and what lessons did you yourself learn, because you can be a role model for people, about the transition from civilian life to public life?
So I'll just give you a little sense of what was going through my mind before I made the transition. And first and foremost, I love educational institutions, and I loved my life as a professor, and teaching hundreds and hundreds of students over the years has been the honor of a lifetime. Like many professors, I was writing public policy pieces, and I came to realize that I had more to offer potentially to our country. And so after many discussions, decided that I would throw my hat in the ring. I also believe that our institutions, our universities, our hospitals, our public and private corporations, and our government should reflect the racial diversity that comprises this country. And I thought that I may be able to add something to the demographic composition of the Parliament of Canada as well. And so that was another motivator for me. So to anyone thinking of entering public life, I will say that It is an honor, and it is one that I value very, very deeply, and every day do my very best for this country.
Okay. Well, we are out of time, unfortunately, because we did lose a bit of time. I want to thank the Minister of Defense for defending democracy. I want to. Well, that's a lot. That's a loud. Usually people wait till I say thank you, but this time you got the crowd jumped the gun. Okay, I'm just going to thank the Minister of Defense for defending democracy and for defending herself at the Democracy Forum. Merci, Megwech, and we hope to see you again at TMU. Thank you, everyone.